Hello, Rajesh, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
That is record sessions. Yes. So we just talking about here is architecture diagrams. So we have different type of architecture diagrams, and we have different type of industries. So that's what I'm talking about here. That once you're going to creating a strategy about the cloud computing things, so you need to understand the domain industry, which industries like we have industries you can see we are discussing right now. We have different type of industries we are discussing here. 1 second. We're talking about here different type of industries in the market right now, and as per the industry you are going to take a decision. Hey, what sort of things we're going to be creating it, and what is importance about all those things. That's what I'm talking about here. Try to understand the industry, try to understand the use cases, try to understand which things you want to be creating in, and the strategies and the use cases are most important part. And this is talking about some healthcare industries, manufacturing, and retail. So we have different strategies we're going to be creating it as per the financial services, as per the healthcare. Suppose you're the part of healthcare, we have different type of strategies we're going to creating it. And this is what about we are talking about here. We are the Azure solution architect expert. So architecture designing is most important. Once you come to be creating the architecture design, you should understand what are the technical capabilities you're going to providing it. So at the end, what is important so far? I'm talking about here, it is operational excellence. Okay, we're talking about some operational excellence. We're talking about performance. We're talking about security. We're talking about flexibility. We're talking about agility. Okay, there's so many functionality we are talking about here. And then it is a part of our examinations, Azure Solution Architect Expert, and we're going to discuss about the couple of things yesterday in our previous sessions, and then how you're going to be work on the examinations, instructor trainings, and videos, and all those things. So the matter of fact, the point of view, and this is all those we out here, the different use cases about the industries. So we have discussed a lot of some gaming companies, and right now we are talking about here healthcare industries. So healthcare industries best practices, like what are the important services are considerations. So the matter of fact that here I'm talking about here which services are important for which industries, because the matter of fact that happen, there's so many services, more than 1,000 services are in the Azure and AWS and GCP. So how do you decide which services are important for me as a which industry is important point of view? Okay, so right now we have discussed about the security, we're talking about flexibility, agility, and then we're talking about here that which features, okay, which services are important. Services important as per the industries. Okay, like we have healthcare industries, we have gaming industries, we have aerospace industries, we have manufacturing plant industries. So as per the different industries, which services you're going to be running it, and that's what it is we talk about some here. It is the architecture designing point of view, because we are going to create a architecture design about any specific companies. So you can see Azure Stack, mixed reality, Azure Security, Azure IoT, and Azure Healthcare APIs, Azure Synapses Analytics, and this is learning sort of things. And you can see we have different type of use cases. You can see that, and we have different type of solutions also will be available into the same. So suppose I am talking about here some use cases, like I'm talking about continuous patient monitoring. This is the requirement of the company. Okay, we're talking about some clinical analytics in the healthcare industries, and we talking about some genomics will be the part of it. So suppose we have the solution we require clinical solutions, so that we have did an AI use cases, discover Azure Health Port, and expose the AI, Azure artificial intelligence, and then we talking about here read and artificial intelligence use cases. So suppose we have since Microsoft announced the integration of Bacon, Amazon for things, and then you have lots of important information will be there. So suppose I'm going to implementing the cloud computing, or I'm going to be migration to the existing cloud computing things. So I will consider the use cases. Okay, I'm talking about some case studies in the Azure things. So what are the case studies? What are the use cases? As per the industry specific, what you're going to doing it. So my understanding, what I'm talking about here, that we have understand the concepts. why I am going to create, because technical things are not too much important over there, because you are going to take only 10 to 15 minutes. You're going to create any databases, any services into the Azure portal. It's not a big deal, and all those things are coming as it is. So once we're going to do lab sessions later on, it's very easy for you. But understanding the concepts, the logics behind it, that's what very important as the architect. And that's what I'm talking about here. You are a cloud consultant, cloud architect. You should understand all those use cases, why I'm going to doing it, what's the impact, all those things, and how would I going to provide company operational excellence. That's what the company on the requirement. Okay, and the cost management is also important part of any cloud computing things. So this is the clinical sort of things, and we're going to say what type of servers we requirement, what are the services to be required, what are the different type of life sizes we requirement, because in the medical industries we have different type of artificial intelligence requirement, IoT requirement, and there's so many things we can talk about here. So explore the IoT things into the um, medical use cases, how to go to deployment into the use cases. So you can see that we have continuous basis monitoring. So what is the best things we're gonna providing as a applications of IoT healthcare industries? That's what I'm talking about here. Understand the concepts behind it, which services you're gonna using it in the Azure portal. This is what important perspective. Okay, like if a
So
cold chain of
how
Azure.
does IoT works actually? So what's the plan is like
Mhm,
there may be multiple devices in gaming industry, right? There are multiple
mhm.
devices where players are playing games, and
Yes, you're right. You're right. So
it's yeah. So at like so that you can prompt them with some offers. Like suppose somebody is playing,
mhm,
like $100 game. Okay,
mhm,
so you can within like 3 4 5 minutes you can provide some
mhm.
kind of offer. If you are
Okay,
spending this much, you will get this. So how this is going to work
okay.
in real time?
So first of all, we have some use cases. Go to industry solutions and then go to gaming industries, and then as per the IoT, as per the use cases, as per the requirement, you want to first of all creating the architecture designs. What is the best fits architecture in the company? Okay, just try to understand which is the best fits in the architecture designing. Okay, and once we're talking about some artificial intelligence point of view or machine learning point of view, so we have different type of services available on the Azure portal, right? I'm talking about here that we have, this is the Azure Play Hub, PlayFab, Azure Gap Development, Virtual Machines, Azure Virtual Machines gonna be creating Azure Kubernetes services. So Kubernetes services are the important perspective. Once you're going to do containerizations, all those things, you have containerizations, you're going to create some same architecture designs in different production environment, testing environment. So this is the services, Azure Kubernetes services, going to provide you some artificial intelligence point of view. Okay, it's going to providing how you're going to be create all those things without too much efforts into the Azure portal as well. And also we have a couple of more services like Azure Cosmos DB databases things. This also providing the artificial intelligence side the same. So we have a couple of different type of services inside the uh, gaming industry's point of view. Suppose you require what type of services, secure services, require databases are secure. We have all those things. So understand the architecture, and as per the architectures, we gonna be creating it, what things we gonna be important so far. Suppose we have this architecture designing, so we have traffic manager, resource groups, Azure event hubs will be there. We have different functionals of the Azure port is going to be working, and it is going to connecting to Azure cache for radius, so that it is once, suppose you can see we have one client right now, and it is takes time for 2 or 3 minutes to log into a particular game, right? But second time the same user will be coming in your gaming industries, right, in your portal. Okay, so this is Azure cache for radius. It is going to be all those IP address, all those cookies information, all the database information going to be already saved. So it will not take it too much time. Suppose this is going to be working as your, you know what, all those caches, all your cookies, all the informations are already in the cache of the Azure. So it will not take too much time to want to provide information same time. And at the back end, the APIs are working at the back end. How, which API is going to hit by the specific person? Suppose I'm talking about here that in the gaming industries, we have multiplayer games, we have single game, we have different type of what reward sort of things get by the users. So all those we have this specific charts available. So once the user going to hit on a specific tab of the multiplayer, 2, 3, or 4 players, online gaming sort of stuff like that. So at the back end, the Azure cache is going to work is at artificial intelligence point of view. So it is going to provide, hey, which is the best fits or what exactly the users coming from where and what sort of things I'm going to run. So as per the users locations, regions, or anything, it's going to take decisions based on the same. And so it is also going to provide some ad servers functionality and digital gaming service pools. So once you're going to understand this particular architecture designs, what are different type of like we have discussed in our previous sessions, resource groups, traffic manager, functions, event hub, and Azure Cache Radius. And then we talking about Azure groups and regional group pools we're going to create. And then once you understand all those features, the services of the Azure, then you're going to deployment, then you're going to migrate of existing things. So in the company, what happened? What is the benchmark? Is benchmark, it means what is the best for the business. Okay, it means I would say that, hey, you're working in a cloud computing environment. So I would say that, hey, we have global benchmark, like we have Netflix, Uber. These companies are using AWS, right? And we have different companies using the Azure things as well. So what is the best architecture designs they're gonna using it? So can we use all those architecture designs? Yes. If we have all those budget limitations are there, then we can't. But if you don't have not budget limitations, you're gonna be use all those architecture design point of view. So that's what I'm talking about here. Is multiplayer serverless matchmaker. And if you understand all those architectures, then understand traffic manager, what is the use case in the traffic manager into the same. So it's connects to the player to the most appropriate regional zone based latency. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talking about here. First thing, example is suppose you have your company like gaming company, and you are sitting in US, right, Ajish? And the game is globally recognized. Okay, and suppose your traffic is coming from more traffic coming from India region. Okay, the Asia Pacific region, Europe region, and Middle East regions. Okay, the different regions will be there. So how would you know that what the traffic is coming from where and which traffic I have to route different things? So the matter of fact that as a Azure traffic manager is a service which is going to do DNS based traffic load balancer. It means the traffic coming from where and where I have to route the traffic. Okay, so why it is I'm talking about here? Because you require less latency in the gaming. Suppose your service is hosted on the US location, and I'm from India. I'm just coming, my traffic's coming from India. So it may be possible that the latency will be there because my traffic going to India to US, it will take some time. Okay. So that's what it is I'm talking about here. The traffic manager will let know that traffic is coming from where. So you're going to be hosting your servers in the specific region. Suppose India region have lots of traffic will be coming. So you are going to planning, hey, we're going to host our servers, gaming servers in the US, in the India region as well. So that we have going to get less number of latency will be there. So this is traffic manager is going to help it out all those things. And then increase the application availability, improve application performance, service maintenance without downtime, and combined hybrid applications, and distribute traffic for complex deployment. We have some pricing. So the thing is most important here. Suppose you're going with this particular architecture design. Okay, this is a traffic manager we discuss about here. So suppose you have going to create the architecture designs, and then which functions, which services you are going to running it. So I would say, suppose we're talking about some traffic managers. So what is the importance of traffic manager? Why I'm required traffic manager? Why I'm going to invest the money into the traffic manager? What's the benefit I'm going to getting from the traffic manager? And suppose I am not going to use a traffic manager, then what happened? Okay, so just try to ask questions to yourself as a consultant, and then once you're going to ask yourself, and then going to providing the answer that, hey, if we have a traffic manager, we're going to get all those what advantages of the same. Okay. Then we have most important question. Hey, what is the pricing of the traffic manager? So if you're talking about some pricing point of view, you are going to see the traffic manager pricing will be there. So it is you're going to be providing your which is dollars or which is the United States, which locations you are, and then we have some different type of per month basis pricing will be coming at the same time, right? You can see we have different pricing will be coming. Collect to the us directly, see what base of purchase, and you can talk to a specialist as well. And then we have pricing calculator. You're going to provide pricing calculators to understand what is the costing of the particular um, um, traffic manager, and then you're going to getting it. Suppose we have here, and then we're going to got all those services you can see here, and then you're going to go to traffic manager and going to getting it. Traffic manager, this is a traffic manager, you're going to getting it, and then you're going to get some pricing as well. Okay, so this is added all the same time, and you're going to use which particular regions, what type of hosting, what are the costing, what sort of things you are looking for. So this is all those the costing parameters, you're going to check it out. So that's what the pricing important perspective, you will take a look, the advantages, benefits, you will take a look on the same, and what as the use cases we're talking about here. Okay, this is also very important perspective I'm talking about here. And what is the traffic manager going to doing it? So it is going to traffic routing methods, endpoint monitoring options, and vigilant. So basically, suppose you would like to know the health monitoring of all those behind the scene in the HTTPS servers, we have to at the back end, what are the port, what is the path, the customer informations at the behind databases point of view. So how do you going to configure all those things? This is very simple things into the cloud computing. Once you're going to traffic manager, going to be integrate, but understand why I'm going to implement, what is the concept, what is the logic behind it, and if I'm not going to doing it, what happened, and what is the costing behind the scene. So which things are important, where I'm going to implement. This is all those things there you need to be understand. Yeah, if you're talking about some cloud security topics, so we will going to cover AZ 500, we have AZ 305, we have 104. So all those things are the part of it, but I'm gonna sending the Azure cloud security things to you on the one by one. Okay, you're going to connect me separately. AWS, Azure, GCP, all those things we're gonna be discussed, and as well as CCSP and CCSK syllabus. We going to the security point of view, we're going to discuss about separately things. Okay, so this is endpoint monitor status, how the things gonna be working so far. This is the use cases we have discussed about. This is the architecture diagrams we're talking about here. And we discuss about how the gaming and the matchmaking, and also we have different type of concepts. Suppose we're going to go some different use cases, like we have pixel streaming with Azure into the okay, into the gaming stuff like that. So you have different use cases we going to discuss about, because the thing is you have lots of informations, lots of data, lots of training materials available on the Azure. But guys, are you going to be confused, sir, which is most important, which things we're going ahead, and which things I'm going to study into the same. So my question that first of all, understand the use cases and understand the industries, understand what is important requirement from the company's point of view. Then you can going to the product, and then we have different services you want to getting it, and all those documentation, everything available. But the thing is, what I'm the requirement, what I'm going to achieving it. This is the most important part into the Azure portal stuff at AWS, Azure, the cloud computing point of view. And that's what I'm talking about as a cloud architect point of view. Some use cases, industry options we have. We have which organization types, like we have startup companies, we have non-profit startup companies. So we have, you can see, we have different type of use cases, understanding the marketplace, we come to comparison, all those things, and then we come to discuss about some gaming use cases right now. And in this room, in the gaming industries, Rajesh, you're working so far, so you have better way that, hey, what type of architecture designs we going to implement, what need to be implementation, and how things going to be working. So like we have Azure Blob storage point of view. So how the Blob storage is going to be working so far, because the thing is we have different type of services into the Azure. So you guys are confused. which is the best things. What, because at the end, what happened is what is the requirement? It's requirement operational excellence. We require good performance. We require good security. We require flexibility, agility. Okay, all those things important point of view, and we require less costing. The most important part is less costing, because we have limitation of budget, my dear friends. Like you can say we have 1 billion, 2 million, or whatever the budgets allocated by the company. So as per the limitation of budget, which services you're going to be enable it? Because AWS, Azure, GCP, any cloud computing are the model of pay-as-you-go model. So whatever you are going to be enabling it, you're going to be running it, you have to provide different costing will be there. So the matter of fact that which services you're going to running it, and what is the operational excellence you're going to creating it, and what is the less costing you're going to providing it. That's why you are a good consultant. And you know what? There are so many services are there. Yes, you're going to be create, you're going to modify, you're going to be changing it. But the matter of fact that you be required less costing person. At least suppose you save 30 or 40 or $50 in a month. That is a huge money for the small companies or medium-sized companies, if I'm talking about here, right? So that's why this is the most effective solutions, I can say that. That's why you want to be are important understanding, hey, how you're going to be creating it, how it's important perspective for the cloud computing things, and how you're going to be things. And moreover, if I'm talking about here that, hey, which clouds are important perspective, what are the technologies point of view, what is the use cases point of view. So you can going to be, I'm going to sending the slides to you, AWS, Azure, Google. So cloud service providers, we have some, which one is to choose and why. So sometimes the person is going to be very shocked that, hey, which cloud I'm going to want to choosing it and why? What is the best things I'm going to getting it? Okay. So market share is not, it's important point of view for the enterprise companies point of view. But if you are talking about the Azure point of view, we have hybrid cloud, open resources support, and there's so many reasons behind it. And this is per minute model, which is per hour model will be there. Okay. So this is very differentiate about the services point of view. You can just take a look on the same. And we right now we are going with this easy 305 examinations. This is what we are studying right now as a solution architect expert. So we going to create some architecture designing about any different type of services. Okay, into the Azure point of view, a security point of view. Suppose you're talking about Azure Blob storage point of view, right? And we are talking about use case of gaming industries right now. In the gaming industries, we are going to store of your data. Okay, like we have object storage, cloud native workloads, archives, data lakes, and high performing computing and machine learning. So these are the requirement we have right now. What is the pricing point of view? What is the features we're going to getting it? What's the benefit I'm going to getting it? This is all about the conceptual logical things to understand. And then you are going to go for the services. And that's why you require a subject matter expert. Companies are hiring a subject matter expert on the architecture point of view. Because why I'm talking about all those things, because if I'm go here in the Google, and then we have the certificate like TOGAF. So those guys are in the architecture designs. They have understanding the TOGAF is all about. TOGAF is the open group architecture frameworks, and it is basically talking about some the enterprise architectures point of view, right? It's an enterprise architecture, and in the enterprise architectures we have cloud architecture, we have database architecture, we have security architecture, all the part of it in the same. So I'm talking about only the one thing over there is business architectures point of view, like information system architectures, technology architecture, right? Suppose you would say here, what type of architecture it is, this comes under into the same. So this is the technology architectures comes under, you're going to creating it, right? But what is the business model of the company? Okay, so this is comes under the business architecture. And suppose we are going to do, here it is, we are going to do migrations over there. Wait a second. This is the migration of the cloud sort of things. So what is the best way to doing a cloud migrations of the cloud? Okay, this is most important part, because your existing infrastructure is moving to the cloud. So if you, I'm talking about here, it is, we have some migration planning is important point of view. So once you're going to do migration planning, what is the best way to doing a migrations? And you have technology architecture available same time. So technology architectures and migration planning you have correctly, then you can easily done the migration of the cloud. That's why we have different services available, because in this cloud you can see we have different type of services available. Like we have in the migration services like Azure site sort of things, and we have different things you can say that available on the product side in the Azure portal. So what is the best things you're gonna doing it for the company's requirement point of view? Like we have migration of the cloud computing things. So if you're going to the services, we have integrations with the different platforms you're gonna doing it. We have migrations things you're gonna doing it. So different services, Azure Migrate, Azure Site Recovery, Azure Database Services, Azure Data Box, and Azure Microsoft Cost Management. So we have five type of services in the migration things. But the thing is to understand, as per the migration planning, what is the best way to doing it, why I'm doing it, what is the rollback plan, what is the testing plan, how to doing it, where to doing it, what to doing it, how to do it. All your questions will be coming into the migration planning. And we have some architecture, technology architecture. We have diagrams available, what to do, where to do, when to do. And then we have different services available on the migration sort of things. Suppose we have Azure migration services is simply going to modernize all those things. Before you're going to use the services, understand what is the use case of the Azure migrate sort of things. And then you're going to talking about some pricing part into the same. But is this particular feature is important for you or not important for you, and then you can go for the pricing part, where it is, what is the pricing of all those migration things is important. Use cases, right? This is for 12 months, you're going to get 40 plus always free services and the pay-as-you-go model as well. You can say that. Okay, once you understand the conceptual things, and then you can going to be integrate in your cloud. That would be the third case. So in the cloud computing, we talking about some labs point of view. So understand all those use cases and the architecture designing point of view, and then you can going to deploy all those services into the Azure, because you're not going to be getting nothing from your own. All things available on the cloud. You're just going to be creating a free account in the Azure portal, and all the services in front of you. So you have understanding good, use cases good, technology and architecture you're going to creating it, understand the best planning part, and then you're going to start from the scratch. That's the beauty about it. This is cloud computing. And then you have going to get all those documentations as well into the same. Okay, so this is what we discussed about some use cases into the same. And also if you're talking about some, if we as an exam point of view, we have discussed about yesterday, Rajesh, about what are the Active Directory rollback plan. Okay, how are back things gonna working? We're talking about here how to monitoring some things, how you're going to be Azure Active Directory reviews will be there. So this is the link which is gonna help you out to particular link. Okay, is going to opening all those stuffs. But the matter of fact that how do you understanding, if you have doing a practical sessions, if you have understanding, if you have experience exposure on those all those features, then you can easily going to do all those things. But if you don't have the experience exposure on all those things, then it is very tough for you to how you're going to be create. Suppose I'm just talking about here Azure interruptions overview. So what is the encryptions to be required? And first of all, state of the data. If your encryption, we going to doing it into the SQL, okay, into the databases of the company's databases point of view, right? Rajesh, you have SQL servers and all those data of your gaming, of the customers. So the matter of fact that how do you secure your data inside your servers? Suppose I would say that suppose DOS and DDoS attacks happen on your servers. So any thoughts about yourself that, hey, what is the best things you're going to doing it about how you're going to securing the data if the DOS and DDoS attacks will be happen? So Rajesh, any suggestions from your side how to secure your data into the DOS and DDoS attacks happen in the cloud?
Yeah, so there are lots of data related to customers. So you have to do some encryption, like suppose there are some contacts of the customer or some very sensitive information, like you can say like their social security number their driving license number and these are all. So how to encrypt. So basically those are PII items, personal information. So those need to be hidden. I mean, what group has to what type of data access, we have to determine that who is going to see what. Otherwise you need to do some kind of masking and these all, and also it should be those access should be within the like all those IPs should be able to access only those data, and outside of that it should not allow to access of those data. And as I said, like within the users, different type of users, like different roles should have different type of access of such data, like customer contacts or social security number. This kind of like how your data governance basically you are doing it.
Okay, yes. So the thing is, matter of fact, that suppose I'm taking interviews. Okay, suppose we have session of interviews, something like that, and the question will be coming that, hey, Rajesh, how do you protect your servers from the DOS and DDoS attacks in the company's point of view, in the Azure portal point of view? I'm talking about here because this is the question, scenario-based questions gonna be asking any specific person. And suppose I'm a client, and you okay, and suppose you're talking on the customer's point of view. So customers, hey, taking, hey, what is the best way to secure your attacks on the DOS and DDoS attacks into the into the Azure portal? So what's the best things we're gonna doing it? Okay, so the thing is, two different things is talking about Azure and DOS and DDoS attacks, right? So be specific, be focused answers is very important here. Okay, you don't have too much time to doing it. Okay, to elaborate all those things. So the matter of fact, first of all, talking about what is the DOS and DDoS attacks, it should be okay. Okay, and second things, what is the best way you're going to be, to block the DOS and DDoS attacks. So the matter of fact, if I'm talking about here, DOS and DDoS attacks will be happening it. So we have specific services are there into the Azure, right? I'm talking here is Azure Monitoring. Okay, you just always be monitor what things are going on with the servers. Okay, all the time. You can just going to say, hey, we going to monitoring all the databases all the time. That is the beauty about. Okay, you're going to talking about right way. Hey, we are always going to monitoring what things are going on, different type of VMs, databases, all those things. So you are going to using Azure Monitor services. So this is the beauty about the monitoring is going to all those logs, events, and things are always be coming in front of you. Okay, so you're going to enable the DDoS into the company. Okay, and then second thing, you're going to do some policies. Okay, I'm talking about here. Yesterday we talking about some Azure Monitor First service, and then Azure policies you're gonna be implemented. Okay, so you're going to be creating the policies as per as per the DOS attacks happen. Then what are the best way the policy is going to be work in the environment of the Azure DOS attacks would be there. So this is Azure policy sort of things. You can say that, hey, sir, we have a specific policies about companies we're gonna using it. Okay, and then we have the third one we're talking about here. We have some Azure DOS protection policies all production as well into the same. Okay, attacks. Okay, features we have, right? Okay, so we have different features available into the DOS and DDoS attacks. The Azure rapid responses, native performance integrations. Okay, the adaptive real-time functions. So I have one question for you. Suppose I'm talking about here like Azure DOS DDoS attacks protection. We have some services available. Okay, so my question is right now, suppose your company is in Ukraine. Okay, uh, there, and there are so many Russian attacks will be there in the company. Okay, so how do you going to securing your servers? Do you going to shut down all those servers? You're going to creating all those DOS DDoS production services in implementation. So what would be your working style as a security consultant point of view, as a cloud consultant point of view? What is the best way you are going to doing it? Yes, anything you're going to share too many informations you would like to show me. Yeah. So this is the strategies we are going to doing it because there's so many issues will happen in India. We're going to say that, hey, we have lots of Chinese attacks happen in Russia, Russians attacks on the European countries, and there are so many attacks will be going on. Okay, so what are the best strategies you're going to implement in the company to protect your data, or you're going to protect your cloud computing? Anything you would like to share to me? Any information do you have? And this will be what practical use cases we are facing daily, all those things. They're going to making the different strategies about the same, all those things. Yeah. Anything?
So cyber attacks like better security by having better firewall and like
Yeah.
encrypted data.
Okay. Okay. First thing is MITRE attacks. I'm just going to do homework for you for the next week. Just try to study this MITRE attacks. Okay, this is very important for you. We have TTP attacks will be there. We have different attacks. Okay, this is all those matrix will be there. So in this particular matrix, there's so many things will be there. Okay, we have techniques, we have sub techniques, all those things are there. Okay, we have some simulation of attacks are there into the same. Okay, we talking about here, hey, what is the procedures, what is techniques, what is the sub techniques, all those things. And if you're going into the enterprise point of view, and then you are going to go, there's different services will be there. So you always going for the cloud things, and then find out, hey, what are the way to compromise the cloud computing? What are the techniques of the cloud computing? Things will be there into the same, and you're going to be creating your own architecture designs as this enterprise architect attack sort of things. So why I'm talking about here, suppose the privilege escalation will be happen in the company's point of view, right? So it should be cloud and premises, anything can be the part of it. And then what are the best techniques and sub techniques you're gonna using it? This is what it is all about. So the thing is, this is the MITRE attacks really have framework is gonna help you out to more closely work on the security parameters about the cloud computing things. Okay, because you required a cloud computing should be bulletproof. Okay, security bulletproof. Okay, all those security will be implemented very all those features. But in the cloud computing point of view, we have lots going to provide lots of features are there. You're going to inbuilt, and suppose you're going to be running any features, and then their specific costing will be there. You can see we have monthly charges of 2,494 rupees. Okay, this is the monthly charges, and on the 100 public IP resources, this is the costing will be there. So you should have basic understanding about all those use cases that, hey, what's the best security implementations I'm going to doing it, why I'm going to doing it, what's the benefit onto the same, all those things there. Okay, and we have another cyber kill chain as well.